Today's topic is the final sin, if you like. We've been doing a series on the 7 deadly sins or the 7 cardinal sins. And today we're going to talk about gluttony, which is probably a word that you don't come across in your everyday life. You may not have heard of it before. But I want to start off with the question of what is gluttony? What does it mean to you?
Okay, so let's start with me.
Okay, thank you.
I think gluttony happens when a person is exhausted and need to consume energy by eating a lot, like excess their limit.
Yes, definitely overconsumption, but exhausted. I'm not sure that, or exhausted in what way? Physically or mentally?
Maybe both, because basically like when you finish exercising and you're so tired, so you have to eat. And another thing is mentality. For example, like stress. Sometimes when you eat, it relieves your stress as well.
Yes, right. Okay, thank you. Andreas, how about you? What's your take on this?
In my mind, gluttony is a bit connected to maybe to decadence. For me, it's always a matter of balance. So it doesn't hurt, or there's nothing wrong about eating too much sometimes or one time, but it depends on if it is on a regular basis, and so it leads to, is it connected to my lifestyle or to somebody's lifestyle, or is it just an outstanding event with friends, or also, so this is what makes it positive or negative to me. Well, gluttony, I don't know if it's the expression prevents from taking is positive, I think.
Yes, I think usually we would say gluttonous is that overeating, overconsumption. I mean, we all like to pig out now and again. It can be great to stuff our faces at a nice banquet. I don't know, have you guys ever eaten so much that you felt, you could feel it physically and you felt either sick or painful? I remember once I was on holiday in Tenerife. I went to one of these eat as much as you can, all you can eat kind of diners. So I was quite young at the time with my friend. We wanted to show how much we could eat and get our money's worth, but they kept coming with more and more food. And I really felt that afterwards. I could barely walk and it felt uncomfortable and couldn't go out for the evening. And I think, yeah, that's always stuck in my memory.
I haven't something.
You go first.
I don't. There's nothing ingrained in my memory like that. It's quite often, it's a pity that I can't eat so much. Because there's if there's a banquet or a great feast, and sometimes I think my stomach is too small. Yes.
Yes, it may be. Yes, maybe you need to train your stomach to eat more.
So for me, it did happen last month after I finished my bachelor degree, and we had kind of a small celebration in of my friends in group, and then we went to the all you can eat restaurant, which is Japanese restaurant. I think it's quite expensive. The price in Thai it's like almost 1,000 baht
Yes.
And yeah, I'm a bit I was a bit regret if I ate just a few. So I decided to eat like almost every menu that provided in the restaurant. And my friend was like, "Damn, I think you should stop eating." I was like, "No, I'll eat it all." And yeah, I made it.
You made it. How did you feel
Yeah, I made it.
afterwards?
I know it's like yeah, I was so full, but I think I was happy with that.
You're proud of your
I'm
performance.
proud. Yeah, that one.
So you had two sins there, pride and gluttony at the same time.
Yes,
Well
of
done.
course.
Going. Yeah, I think it's quite, I don't know about in Germany or maybe in Thai, you have some other occasions, but we have usually at Christmas, it's an occasion when people tend to stuff themselves and overeat perhaps. And I think it tends to happen maybe in the UK, certainly on Christmas Day, but maybe on other days surrounding that. And then come January, this is a time when collectively the whole nation goes on a fitness spree. That's when the gyms are traditionally their busiest. Everybody signs up, makes New Year's resolutions, and wants to, get fit and get rid of those Christmas extra weight they put on at Christmas.
But I think there's a difference between these festivities, or if the family comes together or friends, and you're celebrating something, and everybody knows this is an occasion where we maybe eat too much, but we bring everything on the table we have, and it's a sign of connection or a means of connection to do this, and the day afterwards it's over again, and it's different to a lifestyle where I feel like I have to consume everything because I'm so well off, or I'm doing it alone. This also makes a big difference for me. Is it a social event, or is it just for me on my own? And this seems to be quite pitiful for me. If somebody has to do this gluttony on its own, it's a sign of maybe loneliness or an emotional defect or emotional issue.
Yes. Yeah. Emotional problem. What do you think that is that? Yeah, sorry, Bam, you mentioned you were out with friends on this occasion. So it was a kind of a celebration after your graduation.
Yes.
But yes, this habitual gluttony, or I don't know if you got a chance to watch the clip I sent in the
The BBC or
the Monty Python.
Monty
Python.
Python.
Yes.
Very nice.
Have you
Yeah,
seen that?
Yeah.
It gets worse if you watch like the extended scene. It's probably glad you didn't see that whole part. It gets worse. Yeah.
I think this one is enough.
Yeah, it's enough to put you off overeating. So yeah, that's an extreme version. Makes me think of, obviously he's sitting eating alone, very wealthy, but his attitude.
But like Andrea said, like at the first part is that it's about balance. If you eat a lot, you have to release it out by exercise, not vomiting.
That is a condition. Yes. Okay. Yes.
And he in the restaurant, he didn't seem happy or even satisfied. So this is what I mean with it looks quite pitiful if somebody is or can't curb his greed to eat.
It's like he cannot control his behavior at all anymore.
Yes.
Yes, good. And the next point was that this was a quote that I found from Peter de Vries, who says, "Gluttony is an emotional escape, a sign that something is eating us." So some kind of problem, as you mentioned before. Do you agree with this? Can it be a way out? I mean, we hear a lot about eating disorders as well these days. What is behind them?
I'm not sure if I understand this phrase, but I think I agree with this statement because aside something is eating us, I think it's not about food that comes to your body, but it's about disease as well, which can hurt you, your body, your mentality.
Yeah, we have an expression in English, a kind of slang. It's what's eating you, what's the matter? Or if something is consistently, gets gnawing at you, or it's a problem, we can say it's eating away at me inside. It's I don't know, it's a problem, a chronic problem.
I agree. It may be a sign of something is eating me. A sign that something wants to be treated or wants to come out of your body. Like if you stop smoking, a lot of people do other things instead, like eating junk food or crisps also.
Yes, it's true.
And I agree that there may be a true core in it. If it's really gluttony and not like you introduced a celebrity with or a special occasion, if it becomes routine, and for me this is the point, if it becomes routine that you overdose and you can't control yourself, then it's obviously harmful.
Yes. Anything
Yes.
to add at this point?
At this point, well, right now, I have no idea.
Okay, don't worry. We'll keep going.
Sorry.
Don't worry. There's more questions to come, and yeah, I want to maybe talk about. Well, let me go through the questions that I agreed. So I think we've kind of talked about binge eating and drinking. What is that, to binge eat or to binge drink or to binge anything? And do you
To eat a lot, to drink a lot, excess eating.
Yes, right. These days people talk about binge watching as well. What does that refer to?
Binge watching.
Have you heard of this expression? especially with the
No.
likes of Netflix these days, and on this kind of streaming service. In the past, when we watched a series or something, we had to wait for the next episode. Nowadays, if we can't control ourselves, we'll just watch again and again and again.
Oh, so maybe right now I'm binge watching Netflix.
Yes.
Last night I was like, oh, I watched Netflix. I watched anime, Japanese cartoon, like
Right.
till 1 o'clock.
And did you feel you'd watched too much? Was there a kind of, I don't know, did you have a headache because that's a lot of watching, or did you feel guilty, or was
No,
it just fun?
no, I just want.
Just fun. Okay. Yeah. Now and again, like you say, the balance I think is important.
I woke up late this morning, but it's okay because it's weekend, so I just let myself relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And lately, my wife's got into baking, so she's been baking lots of brownies and cookies. And some of them are so Moorish once you start. Like I said, once you pop, you can't stop. That was the title of this. It comes from I don't know if you know the origin of this. It's from the Pringles, the types of crisps or potato chips that have this pop the can, and they had an advert related to once you pop, you can't stop. And there was an article I sent as well about this. Is it related to something in the brain that makes us just keep going, and even though we know we should probably stop?
But these things sometimes include some ingredients that make us losing control of stopping, especially these types of crisps. And yes, they intend to make us continuing eating, but in general, it's probably a matter of our brain, our mind. If we binge eating, for me, it's if you don't eat at special times of the day and get full and satisfied and then do other things, and instead you always have some kind of food besides, and you just eat without attention on it.
Snacking, about grazing is sometimes called.
Yes.
It's kind of the opposite. Sorry.
Yeah, I think food industry works in this direction to make food more handy, small sized, but in bigger packages maybe. So it's quite convenient to eat all the time and not to eat on for lunch and supper.
Yes.
It's more to snack every time.
Not at regular meal
times. I don't know if there's something wrong about it, but I think you should keep control over what you're doing, and in this case, especially what and how much you're eating. And if you want to eat, if you really want, or if you eat because there are some ingredients that make you feel like I'm keen on eating more.
Yes, interesting. It's the kind of opposite of mindful eating. You can say mindless eating, or unmindful, distracted. And an interesting point about the food companies that you mentioned. I want to come back to that. But first of all, Bam, any comments?
I think I agree with Andrea's perspective. Yeah, it's very easy to have snack like all the time. But back to the first sentence that we talked, it's always balance. Yeah, just control yourself. If you cannot control yourself to eat in the proper amount, you have to do exercise. You have to exercise well. But if you can control, so your life's getting easier.
Yes, right. That having that awareness, being mindful. Yeah, my parents would tell me not to ruin my appetite by eating too many snacks before the main meal. You ruin your appetite.
Then you don't need any main meal anymore. Nothing
Exactly.
For more and more people, the main meals become less important, or the day isn't divided strictly anymore in breakfast, lunch, and supper.
Yes.
Anymore, and also in a lot of families, the breakfast tends to become like in a hotel at the
kind of buffet. Help
the
yourself.
buffet. Everybody gets up when it's his time and takes something and leaves the house. It becomes more usual also in my environment.
Right. And then are you regular with your other meal times at work or in the evening at home?
It's not in our family, but I hear from others who don't spend attention or a lot of attention on the breakfast, for example.
Right. Yeah. So
And
would you say? Sorry.
And I hear from some families who say we should have at least one meal together at the day, and the others are like takeaway or so. But this is the social meaning I referred to at the beginning. Eating is so connected to social interaction and to society, and there are also these business dinners where deals are conducted and contracts, and eating is much more than just consumption of food.
Yes.
And this is what makes it a bit not suitable if you're alone and just
inappropriate.
Eating too much. It doesn't fit together.
Okay, good points. Yes, but Betty.
Yeah.
Any comment?
Any comment? If according to kind of family lifestyle, so in Thai, my family is quite traditional. Like we need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. But now, like I have to move. Like my hometown is from a northern, but now I'm at the middle of Thailand because I have to study. So okay, I have to live on my own. But I think right now my parents kind of adjust the meal to everyone in the family. Like sometimes my brother, he is kind of a chubby boy, and he had to do like inter intermittent fasting, something like that. And that's
Yeah.
what my mother had to help him with that. Mm. So I think the world is changing. So it's kind of independent, right? We don't have to stick to like breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. It depends on our lifestyles.
Yes, that's a good point. Perhaps we don't have to stick to the traditional model. But then if we just let things go and you just eat. Yeah, I remember when I was a student, students are often seen as having terrible diets and eating habits. You know,
My
eating.
goodness. Then
Yes,
back
is
to
it
the
true?
beginning. Balance.
Yes, balance. And there's a great phrase my father would say sometimes, everything in moderation. But then he could add, there's a great addition to this, which is including moderation.
Everything in moderation.
Do you get it?
Can you like explain more? Like, for example,
Yes, so moderation is in moderate, not too much. Don't overdo it. Don't binge. Don't do too much or go to an extreme level. So everything in moderation, but including moderation. So don't be extreme with moderation. Sometimes you can, go one way or the other, let loose. Eat as much as you can in the Japanese restaurant or binge watch manga. Was it a manga cartoon you're watching?
manga.
Oh, yeah. Even my experience in the eat or you can eat. I think I don't think I'll be repeating that. I have stuffed myself many times since, but never to that extent.
But this is pretty much my principle. This moderation phrase, everything in moderation, and it's not only with eating, but with everything. It's a matter of, I call it balance, and it's okay to overdo some things sometimes as well. If you keep balance in general, and
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with it's the same with physical practice or to be lazy over a period, but you have to exercise again to keep the balance for your body and for the brain as well. It's okay to do one weekend or 1 week stupid things. Maybe binge watching because you're so much into it, but then you have to do other things again and to concern with other things and challenge your brain again.
Yes, well said. So let's maybe look now at a slightly different society issue about obesity in general. Is this related to gluttony? And, who is to blame? Are food companies responsible for encouraging us to overeat? These are two questions, but I'll put them both out there and allow you to answer them in your own ways.
In my view, in my view, who is to blame for the obesity is us,
right? Us
because
being the
because we
consumer,
are the consumer, because
right?
we are the one who just put it into your body. But if we, on the other hand, if we talk about food companies, so we have, okay, for the responsibility, we have to see their package. Are there any labels that say that, okay, you need to have it in proper amount, you need to have nutrition listed below, something like that. They have to label the nutrition, the proper amount on the package. I think this one is the responsibility of the food companies. But the main factors that lead to the obesity is consumer.
Okay. Yes, well said.
I agree. I agree with you, Bam. And on the other hand, I'm personally very careful with blaming anybody if there is obesity or an obese person, because I can't look into the matters that concern this person. There may be mental issues, physical issues, so I don't blame one, or I try to be neutral in my opinion about obesity or obese persons. But I agree that there's responsibility on the companies have to take responsibility, and we in general are responsible for ourselves to be fair to the consumers, and to, as you mentioned, clear labels, and maybe to be more restrictive with ingredients that lead to eating more and more, only to bring more revenue to the companies.
Yes, I know we've talked about the labels and labeling, such as, what do they call them? Light, Coca-Cola Light, for example, this might mean very little at all in terms of sugar content, or what does that necessarily mean? But consumers will think, oh, it's okay because it's whatever it is, light. I know there has been regulation regarding this type of labeling of food in certain countries.
Labeling and maybe commercial about food advertising.
Yes, this kind of suffix on the food, on certain drinks, to call something light or diet, whatever it is.
Yeah, or without fat.
Right. Yes.
Claimed quite often, but there are loads of sugar in it instead, but fat free.
Okay, so yeah, so what Andrea said previously, I think I totally agree with that, because okay, let's see, like individuals that you say that you won't blame anyone. So okay, so why I won't blame the obese people too. That let me think about the personal body. Like everyone has different body, different system, like their metabolism. Which is kind of somebody they don't eat a lot, but why they still fat? Maybe it's kind of abnormal things in the body. maybe kind of chemicals in the brain. We don't know about that. And other thing is that, oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. And other thing, okay, the price of the snack. That seems like sometimes nutrient, the good food like vegetable, meats, kind of protein, vitamin. I think the price is higher than the snack.
Yes,
Mm.
nutritious
So
food.
So I think this one is kind of influence people to eat snacks because it's cheap, because they're cheaper.
Yes, that's often true. What was the food that you recently reviewed? Was it a acai bowl?
Acai.
Acai
Yeah,
bowl.
it's a
It's
very
looked,
yes.
I was saying it looked very healthy and very delicious, but I know you mentioned it was quite expensive, prohibitively expensive.
Of course.
Yeah, which is a shame.
David, excuse me, I saw the remaining meeting time, which is only 1
You're
minute
right.
left.
We are running out of time finally. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
we'd already gone. Sorry, it's mine. That's the good thing about the other platform, allows you to talk for an hour usually if you can get started on time. So I don't know what happened today, but I think we've covered a nice amount of ground between us. So thank you both for your patience, and I'm glad that we were able to have a chat in the end.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
too.
thank you
It was
very
a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Andreas. Cheers, Pam. Have a good day. Enjoy your
Have a good
weekend.
Yes,
day.
have a good day.
Take care.
Cheers.
See you soon.
Take care.